Like and subscribe right now, or this spider will crawl on your face when you're sleeping.
10 events that will happen before 2050. Okay, so 2020 will go down as the worst year in the 21st century. That's a fact. But have you ever wondered what you've got to look forward to in the coming decades? If not, then we're about to reveal to you a number of predictions that will either impress you or simply freak you out. Are you ready? Great! Then let's look at 10 major events that are bound to take place before the year 2050. Number 10. Robot escorts will be everywhere. You've read it in sci-fi novels and seen it in movies, but if you live long enough to see 2050, then I guarantee you that robot escorts might just become a thing. According to a paper written by Yeoman and Michelle Mars of the University of Victoria Management School in Wellington, New Zealand, they strongly believe that robot escorts will be quite common, but very expensive in 2050. They imagine places like Amsterdam offering a range of exotic gods and goddesses of different ethnicities, body shapes, ages, languages, and appealing features. It will all be about picking your poison. Before we move on, I've got a little challenge for you that'll take 5 seconds to complete. So here's the deal. You just leave a like on this video, smash that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell, and you will get 25 years of amazing luck. Try it, it really works. Number 9. The United States will no longer be the world's superpower. With so many financial, economic, and political adversities facing the United States, many economists believe that the country is no longer the golden goose that it used to be. According to Jacques Attali, a writer who predicted the financial crash in 2006, believes that by 2050, America's economy will have completely fallen. After a very long struggle and in the midst of a serious ecological crisis, the still dominant empire, the United States, will finally be defeated around 2035, writes Attali. And predictions are numerous that the new superpower that will call all the shots will be China. Number 8. More than half of the world's population may not have adequate access to water. Today, 1.1 billion people lack access to water, and 2.5 billion people, which is 36% of the world's total population, reside in regions of the world experiencing water stress. 20% of the world's GDP is produced in these areas as well. Already, water scarcity haunts 2.7 billion people, nearly 40% of the world's population, for at least 1 month every year, either because they don't have access to clean water or because they can't afford it. And 1 billion people, about 1/6 of the world's population, face shortages every single day. By 2050, however, this number will likely increase. Nearly 2 billion people will live in countries, mostly in the Middle East and North Africa, with absolute water scarcity. And by 2050, MIT researchers say that 5 billion of the world's projected 9.7 billion could live in water-stressed areas. Aside from a lack of drinking water, populations in these areas might not have the means to irrigate their fields for domestic, industrial, and environmental purposes. Currently, 1/3 of the world's rivers, groundwater for about 3 billion people, are going or gone. With population growth and global warming, the situation will only worsen. The drying of lakes and rivers will lead to the release of more greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide and methane into the air, which will serve to only exacerbate climate change. Because of the water cycle, the world will also face more droughts, potentially making wildfires at least twice as destructive by 2050. Number 7. The types of fish we eat could become extinct. Right now, 87% of the world's assessed fish stocks are classified as overexploited or fully exploited. If the world continues fishing at its current rate, all fish stocks could become extinct by 2050. To combat the problem, many organizations, including the UN and European Commission, have tried to impose catch limits on certain species. We have no idea what kind of damage the loss of fish species could cause to ecosystems around the globe, or how the changes will affect humanity. About 3 billion people receive 1/5 of their protein consumption from fish, making it a more important source of protein than beef. We even use a multitude of medicines made from marine species. And then there's the money. Between 10% and 12% of people around the world rely on fisheries and aquaculture for their livelihood, contributing to about $129 billion in global exports, about half of which comes from developing countries. All in all, the oceans produce around $3 trillion worth of goods every year. If we expect to stop the collapse, however, more than 20 million people employed in these industries need to leave and train for other work over the next 40 years. Number 6. Artificial intelligence will reach a singularity and become godlike. I bet you've seen it in numerous movies. The desire to attain a godlike singularity with AI. Well, this might just be the case by 2050. In fact, futurist Ray Kurzweil predicts a technological singularity and a runaway cycle of self-improvement by intelligent machines coming as early as 2045. Either humans will become immortal, godlike creatures, or we'll all be killed by sentient machines. Strangely, many futurists agree that only one of the two can exist. Now that's scary. Oh well, I can't wait to load my consciousness into a bot that can travel to other planets. Number 5. Superbugs could kill 10 million people each year. Right now, infections that no longer respond to the drugs we once used are killing 700,000 people a year. By 2050, that number is set to reach 10 million deaths each year. The problem of antibiotic-resistant bacteria has been exacerbated by the fact that doctors and pharmacists across the globe give them out freely, and farmers worldwide use them liberally on their crops and add them to animal feed, even when animals aren't sick. Because of this liberal use, antibiotics have become ever-present almost anywhere. They can be found floating in the water and buried in the soil. Unless the demand for antibiotics drops or the regulations on them are tightened, we are set to live in a world where millions of people die from infections that can no longer be treated. Number 4. Aging will be brought under control by 2036. Immortality, the fountain of youth, whatever you call it. It's something that's been desired by humans for all of eternity. Could it finally become a possibility? Well, Cambridge scientist Aubrey de Grey believes that the first human beings who will live to 1,000 years old have already been born. Aging is a disease, suggests de Grey, and can be cured. His theories are based on the idea that treatments that extend lives will speed up, so that eventually they match the speed at which we age. Life expectancy is growing by 2 years per decade at the moment, says de Grey, but it will be 1 year per year. I can't wait to see my great-great-grandson's 100th birthday, just a little tyke. Number 3. Rising water levels could flood major cities across the globe. Sea levels across the globe are set to rise by roughly a meter, a little over 3 feet, by 2100 if carbon emissions continue unchecked. Without proper planning, coastal cities from New York City to Calcutta, India will be devastated. Rising waters will begin to take their toll before 2100, of course. If sea levels rise by just 1.5 feet, many people will lose their homes. Cities will lose valuable assets. A 2008 report from the OECD found that Calcutta will likely be the hardest hit city in the world, with 14 million people and $2 trillion in assets exposed by 2070. New York City made the list too, with 2.9 million people and $2.1 trillion in assets laid bare due to storm surges. The rising tide will be felt acutely in the US, where by 2050, most of the cities along the northeast coastline will likely see more than 30 days of flooding each year. We've now come to the best pick of the day. Excited about Mars? Well, it might just be a possibility by 2050. And I strongly believe that the first colony on the planet will have Elon Musk as the president. That could be pretty awesome, right? Number 2, cyber attacks could increase, causing tangible damage to the world. The events surrounding the 2014 release of Sony's movie, The Interview, made it undeniably clear that cyber attackers mean business. By 2025, experts believe that nations, rogue groups, and malicious individuals will step up their hacking games, according to a report from the Pew Research Center and Elon University. Of the 1,642 experts surveyed, 61% predicted a major attack causing significant loss of life or property and costing tens of billions of dollars. Today, countries or militaries that don't typically attack in two dimensions have started to venture into hacking territory. These hacks could affect banks, businesses, and private data, but also do tangible damage to a world increasingly reliant on technology. An attack on a German steel mill in 2014 caused significant damage to its furnaces. The year before, the Stuxnet virus destroyed 1/5 of Iran's nuclear centrifuges. Number 1. Saudi Arabia will have run out of oil. Have you ever wondered why Middle Eastern countries are investing a large chunk of their money into infrastructure, entertainment, and foreign companies? It's because they're preparing themselves for the day that their oil reserves will run dry. And that day may come sooner than you think. By 2030, countries such as Saudi Arabia may stop producing the black gold and actually start importing it. And that's because their oil reserves will have depleted. As such, the massive country will have to generate sustainable revenue elsewhere. With that being said, we've come to the end of the video. Are you convinced by any of our predictions? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Want more videos that'll exist until the end of time? Click on any of the videos you see on the screen. As always, thanks for watching.